Today's lecture will be over Chapter 19, Section 3, Objectives. Number 1, examine the history of West Africa, including trade and government. Number 2, analyze West African economies. And number 3, describe cultural symbols of West Africa and West African music. So the area that we're looking at here is going to be West Africa, right in this area right here. What we do to kind of look at kind of the areas in this land right here, Gabon, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Angola, those we consider to be more of Central Africa, even though they're a little bit more on the coast. When we look at the areas of West Africa, these are going to be a very important group of areas, because what happens is that in the Europeans in the 1400s and 1500s, they're sailing around the southern tip of Africa. We've discussed that many times before, but these are the countries that are going to have that rich history in what we're looking at. So the first thing that we look is the Gorée Islands off the coast of Senegal. This is a departure point for slaves during slave trade in the mid-1500s to the mid-1800s. The Europeans moved 2 million Africans through the island, and about 20% of Africans died in transit to the Americas. So these islands obviously are going to have a major impact, and again, the western area of Africa is going to have a major impact on the slave trade. And you can go ahead and you can look at the countries right here: Benin, Burkina Faso, Cape Verde. All the kind of these countries in this area are going to be on that west coast. But the three trading empires do start to emerge. Ghana, Mali, and Senegal is going to be empires that grow out of the Sahara's trade during this time. They're going to really be pushing gold and salt. Now the routes are going to cross on the Sonoki farms, and the Sonoki leaders are called Ghana, which are war chiefs. The Sahara becomes known as Ghana, which taxing trades creates Ghana's wealth. Ghana becomes an empire about 800 AD, but by 1100 we start to see its decline. Now the kingdom of Mali rises at about 1235, and it conquers Ghana, and it's going to dominate the gold trade. And if you guys kind of know your history about gold, gold becomes a major important mineral and what everybody's looking for a very long period of time. Now in 1400, Mali is going to be replaced by Songhai until Morocco invades in 1591. So what we've seen here is that we've seen the gold industry becoming very important, because they're going to continue to try to trade as much as they can. Now, stateless societies, what we see is that a lot of people in this area have stateless societies. This is when people rely on a family lineage to govern themselves. They don't elect a government or a monarch, and members cooperate and share power. What's a lineage? A lineage is a family or a group descended from a common ancestor. So for example, the Igbo of the southeastern Nigeria, they're going to be a stateless nation, and what they do is that they just continue to work together, and they kind of pass the power on to their kids. Now it's not a kingdom because everybody kind of shares in this, so you have leaders that kind of emerge and they continue to pass that on through their children. 1700s, 1800s, African stateless nations are challenged by colonizer. The Europeans expect societies to be governed by a single ruler, so they're going to go ahead and they're going to push that onto those countries. Now Ghana's stability exports gold, diamonds, manganese, bauxite, all to industrialized countries. They're the second highest per capita income in West Africa. Post-colonial switch to democracy is going to bring military rule and civil war, and what happens then is that the past decades, free elections and political stability, they do grow. Now this is going to be stable, where we see problems in Sierra Leone. Once produced a high quality of diamonds, but civil wars are going to destroy the economy. One thing about civil wars that we look at is civil wars are very damaging. If you look at the people, they could die, the people could be thrown in jail, people could migrate and leave. So civil wars hurt the working, but you got to kind of think too that if these people are involved in a civil war, then more than likely they're not going to be working and they're not going to be trading. So civil wars really do hurt economies of countries. Low 31% literacy rate means they have few skilled workers. You also have poor transportation systems and few highways and roads. Now, Ghana's Ashanti are known for weaving a sia cloth, which is going to be colorful, meaningful designs. Once they're going to be worn by royalty. They're going to carve stool symbols, unity between ancestral spirits and the living, and the king's stools represent unity between the state and the people. So you can see that a lot of this area right here in West Africa is going to be affected by the Europeans and the gold trade, but they also have a long tradition and history, and they've got the culture that is a little bit more traditional. traditional. Now, the King of Benin arose in Nigeria area around the 1200s. The artists are going to make metal and terracotta objects. Now, the brass bronzes include statues, masks, and jewelry, which kind of reflect their culture. Now, another thing that reflects the culture is going to be the West African music. Popular music blends traditional with jazz, blues, reggae. It's often used French and English lyrics to attract international audiences. They play on drums and instruments like the kora. The kora from Guinea-Bissau is going to be a cross between a harp and a lute. And Nigeria's Minister of Enjoyment, the King Sunni Ide, is going to be very popular as well. This concludes the lecture over Chapter 19, Section 3. Please complete the assessment at this time.